to A Well-Designed Business. My name is LuAnn and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company Window Works from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. It's Power Talk Friday. Today, Ashley Connell joins me on the show. Ashley is the founder of Prowess, and I think you are going to enjoy hearing both about Ashley's company and her mission. In the meantime, you're probably thinking, is that name familiar to me? Well, it is. You know Tracy Connell, right? Tracy's been on the show a couple of times. Tracy was a chairman of board client of mine. She is one of the instructors in LuAnn University, and in her podcast on the show, she has described and shared her insights on how she built her interior design firm from the ground up through extreme adversity in her personal life. And so if you've missed the episodes with Tracy, I highly recommend that you go and check them out. The numbers will be in our show notes, okay? Now, Tracy is someone that I know and respect greatly, and today I get to meet her daughter, #smart lady, Ashley. Ashley is a go-getter just like her mom. She's one part fearless entrepreneur and one part fearless women's advocate. After spending 15 years as an award-winning tech marketer, Tracy took her drive to balance career and family, and this led her to start Prowess, a company that matches interior designers with business managers, expediters, and other talented professional women so that you can outsource the business side of your business. Prowess has become a community that helps women find the balance they are looking for in their lives. It's also a great resource for you when you are reaching a level when you need to bring in someone to help you with that business management, right? Now, before we get into the show, I'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Kirsch. Have you heard of their Breeza motorization feature, which gives your clients control of their draperies without sacrificing beauty? They're easy to install and compatible with third-party home systems, and they are available on almost all of Kirsch's most popular drapery tracks. Visit Kirsch.com today to learn more about Breeza motorization. Now, let's talk with Ashley and hear what she has to tell us about outsourcing, about finding the perfect hire, and how Prowess can help you find the right fit for your business. Hi, Ashley. Thanks so much for joining me on A Well-Designed Business today.
LuAnn, thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here.
Well, I am so delighted to have you here, Ashley, because if anyone has already taken a little peek at the show notes, they know that you are Tracy Connell's daughter. And Tracy and I have just spent a whole year getting to know each other through the Chairman of the Board program. And what's funny is, first of all, the regard that I have for your mom is beyond. She is such a dynamo, such a powerhouse businesswoman. And when she has talked of you over the last year, you cannot know how her face lights up. It is so amazing.
That really is amazing. I mean, I feel like she's been everything for me. I mean, she's been such a role model from the very beginning to now, and just watching her full journey has been inspiring. I'm incredibly lucky.
Yeah, well, I have to say, listening right now, look, you're thinking it's a daughter. She's saying her mom's amazing. And of course, we'd love for all of our daughters to say that about us. And we say it about our own mothers, of course. But I would love for you to go back and listen to Tracy's episode 525, especially 525, because it tells the story and the journey that Tracy has been on. And of course, Ashley as well. And there's another layer there that when you now hear, and as we go through this interview and you hear hear Ashley's respect and admiration for her mother, I think it will mean a whole lot more to you. But I'm not going to necessarily ruin the surprise. And if it comes up organically, Ashley, of course, you're welcome to go wherever you want to go. But the backstory is there at 5:25 and then again at 5:54. So here we are. You have your own company, another amazing entrepreneurial lady. It does not surprise me one bit that you popped out of your mama. And you are the founder of Prowess Project. And this is interesting and special to us because your company specializes in helping our companies access VAs, right? I mean, do you call it that way? How do you describe it, Ashley?
Yes, it's not necessarily VAs. It's really anything that you need outsourced. Anything, any part of the business that as a designer, when you go into design because of the beauty and because of your passion for it, but you don't necessarily think about, oh, the project management, oh, the expediting, oh, the invoicing. We can handle all of that. And so that's what we do. We match up designers with these incredible business managers and experts to make their businesses really thrive.
And so how does it work? So for instance, is it I can't help but mention, I don't know if you've heard the episode with Bethany Maybe from the Interior Design Procurement Group, right? So Bethany, her business is specifically expediting, whether you want her to be your continual outsourced expediter, or here's the other thing about her company that I always find interesting is that you might be a firm, whether you're a solo with one bookkeeper and maybe an assistant, or you're a firm like your mother's, much larger firm, Tracy Connell Interiors, a much larger firm with, senior designers and junior designers and, office staff and the whole 9 yards. I mean, Tracy and I have talked about it sometimes, like all of a sudden, here you are, you're a busy firm, a larger firm, you've got a full pipeline because of course you have to keep your pipeline full in order to make sure you manage your overhead, and then boom, here comes that $2 or $3 million project, and you're looking at all the eyeballs in your firm and you're saying, if I say yes to this, I'm going to pressure these guys, but how do I say no? And what I understand with Bethany is a firm can just go hire Bethany for that expediting of that one project. So how does your company work like that?
Absolutely. So we're not necessarily a firm. What we do is match you up with your next right-hand woman. Okay. So this is going to be the person, the business manager, who's going to be with you from start to finish in handling all the back of the house or making the business happen. And that can range from, hey, what are our KPIs and what are we going to hit this year in managing revenue, all the way to expediting and calling and making sure that X, Y, and Z is going to get to the house on the reveal day. So it really spans the gamut there.
Now, when you tell me that, I hear it, but I also know that the skill set that's required to be your project manager and or business manager, because I want to talk about that too, is very different than the skill set for that in the weeds, detailed expediter. So when you say we match you up with the right person, do you mean that any one of us can come to you, Ashley, and say, I need a project manager and I need an expediter? Or are you saying that they're the same person? How does it work?
It completely depends. It depends specifically on not only your firm, but also the talent that we have in our talent pool. So we have two different levels. The top level is what I would call the business managers. So that's that person who is very well-rounded and can do it all. These people are ex-COOs, business managers, CEOs who were executives, but really miss getting their hands dirty. They want to be in the projects instead of just being on phone calls and managing all day. So that's one level. The next level is more of your project managers and your pure executors.
Okay.
So it really depends on what you're looking for.
Okay. And they are not the same skill set. And so you do place different people for those things, right?
Exactly.
So, Ash, for right now, and we may go to the other, but for our purposes now, let's focus a little bit on that upper level expertise, that business manager expertise, because I know that there are designers out there. I work with them in my masterminds and I'm in my chairman of the boards and just in conversations and emails that I get, that there is a need, whether you are a designer with 3 people or you're a designer with 8 or 10 people on staff. When a designer wants to stay in his or her lane of the creativity, there's a need for that other person that's like paying attention to everything that happens under the operations umbrella, as opposed to being, to use your word, the executor of the operations umbrella. So that's a skill set that we can hire through your firm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And really, the way that works is we get on a phone call with you to better understand what your needs are specifically. And so at Prowess, we're not just matching you based on the skills you need, but also your behavior style, your communication style, and really your personality. Because how many times have you hired someone and then realized 3 months down the road that it's just not a fit? And for a business manager, this is even more critical.
Right. Yes. And so and then okay, well, I'll go back and ask you about that process a little bit more, but let's just jump forward. So a designer calls you, they have the questionnaire with you, you have a good feeling. Are we actually then hiring that person, or is it like a temp agency where we're paying you the salary and you're paying them? And is it always a part-time thing? Sometimes is it a full-time? Is it a temporary gig? Like, I can't wrap my brain around how this happens.
Sure. It really depends, again, on what the firm needs. So to give a bit of background on who the women are who are in our talent pool, these, like I said before, it's all ex-executive women who maybe took time off of the workforce and want to return or want to pivot in their career. So some of these women do want full-time, and they're happy to jump on full-time. Some of these women are juggling their family life. And I think we all can understand that, especially now during COVID. So they can work 20 hours a week, and that fits really well with some firms. So again, it ranges.
Interesting. And then it's usually, or is it always, or is it a combination of virtual and in-house, like boots on the ground coming to your office?
It's mostly remote.
Okay.
It depends really where the firm is. If you're in a big city, it's likely that we will have someone who would be able to come into your office a few times, but the vast majority is remote, and especially now.
Right. And I would have to say that if most of you, if you've interacted with me through email and so forth, you know Lisa. And Lisa's in San Diego. I'm in New Jersey. If this hadn't been going on almost 2 years at this point, I would think, how could that happen?
Exactly. Exactly.
But honestly, you cannot know how muck and mired she is in every single aspect of what I do. I mean, I don't even make appointments now. I just you have to ask Lisa.
I love it. I want to talk to Lisa.
Lisa's very
She's
good.
Our gal. She
really is. And I think it's another level of skill set to be able to work that effectively for someone. It was a skill set for me to understand how to work with her and manage our communication expectations and all of that remotely. But I think I have the easier side of it than the person trying to execute it, to tell you the truth.
Completely agreed. And one reason why firms come to Prowess is because we vet all of these women, and all of these women have gone through a 16-hour certification. In that, we are talking all about how do you work with someone remote. And that is so key that I think a lot of people gloss over and just assume that it's going to be easy. And it's just phone calls. No, it's so much more intricate. And you have to have a communication plan. You have to understand, how does my stakeholder want to be alerted or communicated with? Is it phone? Is it email? Is it Skype? What does that look like, and when?
Right.
And that's so huge.
Right. Absolutely. Definitely. And so when we, again, concentrating on that business level
Sure.
position, manager position, because, we do a lot of conversation on the show about how to get from zero to your first 250K, 500K,
Yep.
not that we identify it so much by that. But I know there is that whole next level, those designers that are going from 1 million to 2 million, and more importantly, that 2 million to 3 million. You're really going to, I never say nevers and always, but I believe that it is very hard to effectively manage a $2 to $3 million firm without a strong business manager. And when the designer herself, like your mother, is one who is completely capable of being the business manager, in my opinion. I've like I said, I've worked closely with her for a year. Her brain is analytical. She is numbers driven. She understands her numbers. She knows how to make moves. She knows how to make evaluations, but she loves to design. Exactly. And so it just because, that's been my biggest thing with your mom, I have to say, in the last year, because she's as talented and skilled as a business person than I am or more. But I really feel like where my role has been with her all year is, but Trace, just because you can do it, should you do it? Right?
Exactly.
Let's keep focusing you back and getting you back in your lane, because so the thing is, so we have designers out there that are at that $2, $3, $4 million point. And of course, I really do believe if you want to go from I think you can get to 1 million on your own. I think you're going to go to 1 to 2. You're going to need that business manager, or you're going to become the business manager, and you're going to have your senior designer be the designer. And I haven't met a designer yet that likes that model. Right? Everybody wants to keep designing, right?
Exactly. I hear it all the time. And I love that you said between the $2 and $3 million mark, we really do see our sweet spot as early as 1 million
Right.
to about 5.
Right.
And it's exactly the reason why you're describing, because by staying in your lane, you're more efficient.
Yep.
It has been proven that if you outsource, you increase your productivity between 10 and 100 times.
Wow. Even just 10 times productivity is significant.
Exactly. And I also think that there's something to be said about if you love your work, if you love and have passion on what you're doing. And what I mean by work is your day to day. So like the example of my mom, the superwoman, her day to day, she wants to be designing. She can totally do the business management, but the fun, the passion, I can see her eyes light up when she's doing the design work.
Yes. I think that was one of I'm going to out her now. I think that was one of our big ahas that it took us, we started in January. It took us, I think, all the way to October, and she would have it. I would keep pounding. What do you really love to do? Take everything away.
Right.
You don't need any money. You don't have to pay
Right.
any bills. You're just going to get up and do what you love. And we would often come to design. And then the next meeting, she'd be like, I have this idea. I think I'm going to do that. And I'd be like, what do you really love to do? What do you really love to do? And finally, October, she's like, all right, I think I decided I really love to design. I got to lean into it. I'm like, thank you. 9 months later, thanks for coming to the party.
LuAnn, what I love about this is we have this conversation probably once a month, definitely at Thanksgiving, definitely at Christmas. Oh yeah. Totally get it. But she does the same for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm running a business too, right? And I'm very visionary. I obviously get that from her, but I absolutely can get into the weeds too. And I have to remind myself that as the CEO, I need to be out there talking about this, not following up with invoicing.
Exactly. I love it. Okay. So now walk me through literally how does it work. So I'm on the phone with you. I've heard this podcast. Yep. And I said, yes, I hit 1 million this year and my goal is to hit 2 million next year. And I know I need some, higher level support and help here. And I don't want to be the one to do all this. I want to make sure I'm maintaining X amount of percentage of my time as a designer. I understand, you said I might need 20 hours. I might need 40. I get that all needs to be determined. But then in the weeds, is it a formal interview process? And then how do is this business manager really, when you say some of these are coming out as previous CEOs and COOs, is there that strategy conversation too, where like, okay, let's really get all knee deep into your business. Let's really figure out, or because when somebody comes to me at that level, I'm expecting that level collaboration, not like showing up and saying, okay, LuAnn, tell me everything you want me to do. I'm expecting a little bit bigger vision, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the way that works is you hop on to our website and fill out just a form. What are you looking for? And that helps us frame the next conversation with you. In that conversation, not only are we getting an understanding of what you and your firm needs, including the goals that you're setting out, but like I said before, your style. That is so key for us. As someone who has hired multiple people, I always found it was such a failure that when I was doing interviewing, I didn't get to know the actual person and their style until I picked up the phone. And I would see thousands and thousands of resumes before then. So with all of that data that we are collecting during that first phone call with us, we put that into our algorithm, our technology. And my background is technology marketing. And so I decided, hey, to do this at scale, I want to create a place where people can go and find expert talent who not only fit the skill and the expertise, but also, like I said before, communication style, compatibility, learning style, behavior style. So that is really, really key for us. All of that information, including a 10-minute personality indicator test from you, goes into our algorithm, and within 48 hours, we send you the top 3 matches. So you'll get an email from us with 3 different profiles saying, Sally is 98% compatible, Susie is 94, et cetera, et cetera. And then you decide, hey, I want to interview Susie. We then get on a phone call. Oftentimes, this is the first time that a designer has hired a business manager, so we can also help and do a guided interview too, so that you know what questions to ask. And oftentimes we hear there that the guided interview is so nice because it feels like the third date, not the first date when you first talk to these people. And so from there, you can decide, hey, I really like Susie. And you say, hey, I want to continue the conversation with her and potentially even do a little project to see if what Susie says she can do is what Susie can do. And so you do the little project, and from there you decide, hey, Susie is it or not, and then you can come back and interview Sally or whomever else.
Right. Okay. I love that. I love that you included the personality profile component of it, because I'm a huge advocate of that. My cousin Eileen Hahn has been a organizational behavioral consultant for 30 plus years now. And it's not the end all be all. It's not the only component, but to your point, it is a valid component to consider. And often when 2 candidates on paper look very similar, to your point, that style and that personality mesh is the thing that tips the apple cart in the right direction. And it's nice when we, to your point, do the profile on ourselves, because when we start to understand how we work. So, what I've learned very much in this last year, 2 years working with Lisa, is that I'm a verbal person. Hello. Shocking.
Imagine that. Yeah.
And I've said it a dozen times on the podcast now. I don't do email anymore. When I used to get 5 emails a day, I could do email. I'm not a moron. I can read emails. But when 50 come in a day, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. No, I can't do this. I can't sift through it. I don't want to. And so, Lisa does. But Lisa gets her own 50 emails a day. So it's tough. But you know what? She plows through it and does it. And I appreciate it so much. So let's say we get to that point. We now we like Sally.
Okay.
And let's go to hiring. What should we expect? Say we want a business manager for 20 hours a week to start, because I don't know if you really need to start at 40. I would take your advice on that. But say it's 20 hours a week. There's a designer out there. He or she just did $1 million. They're committed to going to the next level, really understands that somebody needs to be at that seat. watching operations. And what are we looking to, how do we expect that salary package to be? Is it a salary package, first of all, with benefits and vacation and all of that, or is it a 1099? And how does that work?
Great question. So if it is not full-time, yes, it is a 1099 and it goes through Prowess. So the way that that works is you would then be paying Prowess. Prowess takes a percentage because we do ongoing training with these business managers to ensure that they're constantly up to par. And then we give the rest to the talent. Now, if you decide, oh my God, Sally is phenomenal, I want her full time, then we switch that over to she's your employee.
Okay.
And you can decide on benefits and whatever moving forward.
And at that point, are you actually losing her as your talent and I've now hired her as my full-time employee, or it just goes to full-time and it becomes a salary, but it still goes through you?
No, technically we are quote unquote losing her. However, what I love about Prowess is these women are such a tight-knit group. We have a full community where they go in and ask each other questions, whether it is, hey, have you used Asana and what is this new feature, to, hey, my child's going off to college and I'm struggling right now. And so quote unquote, yes, we're losing her, but she most likely stays in that community for how enriching it is.
Okay. So that's nice. It's like her own little support group there, right?
Well, yes, and it benefits the interior designer too.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say that Sally doesn't know the answer to something. She now has a community of thousands of people who have probably done that before that she can go tap.
Okay. So from a completely literal standpoint, she maintains the support and camaraderie and education that you're delivering, but we actually have the ability to move over and hire her and have our own agreements with her as a full-time employee.
Correct.
Otherwise, if we wanted to do the 20 hours a week or 10 hours a week or whatever many hours a week for as long as we wanted to, that works too for everybody.
Absolutely. And we have a ton of firms who come to us with that problem saying, hey, I don't know how much time I need. And so we developed a couple free tools to help you figure that out before you even get on the phone with us.
Interesting. Do you ever have a situation, Ashley, where somebody, a match is made and I'm a designer and I've got this business and I hire this business manager, and the business manager does a great job, but 2 years out or 1 year out, I actually need another level. Like what I require at 1 million might be different than what I require when I've grown my company to 3 million. Now, maybe that business manager grew with me, but what if I were to come back to you and say, hey, Sally's been great, but objectively, I need next level, thinker here. Is that ever happen?
100%. And that is one of the key reasons why why they are Prowess, why you work through Prowess, I should say, versus hiring full on, because that gives you that flexibility to not only flex hours higher or lower, but also expertise. And that is so needed when you are growing a company.
Yeah, because I know very clearly that the skill set to manage and grow a business from 1 to 3 million is very different than 3 to 5 million. It is distinctly different. And I know it from our own experience at WindowWorks. All the things that we did to get to 1 million, basically, the brains of me, Vinny, and Billy was plenty. It was easy. We're all hard workers. We all have completely different skill sets. We all have different talents, and it worked. From 1 to 2.5, it was like, this is a little, okay, we still got this. Now at 3+, it's like, okay, Eileen, come help us. It really is different. And so I would never want to, if I didn't know that experience firsthand, I wouldn't expect to be in that position. But knowing that, to be real, if I were a firm growing from, 1 to 3, and then wondering why. Like in hindsight, I could see me maybe wondering, why is this person doesn't feel effective anymore? Why are things getting hard again? Because that's what happened to us. Once we hit 3, it started getting hard again from a management standpoint, right? And if I didn't have that hindsight perspective, I might look and say, is this person not working hard enough? But what I know objectively is there are different skill sets. And so it's nice to know that there's no weird feeling of, I need a different level person now. It's like the person that their sweet spot is 1 to 3, they need to be cut loose actually then to go serve another 1 to 3, right?
Exactly. I was just about to say that. Chances are they're unhappy too.
Right. Because that's what's interesting about what you just said is because the people that work for you have chosen to work for you in this particular business model. And so if I come to you because my strength is growing 1 to 3,
right.
I don't even want to be pushed to try and go from 3 to 5, right?
Exactly.
I want to be reassigned.
And that's another benefit of Prowess is you have an account manager who you can have these conversations with so that you don't have to go straight to Sally and say, hey, is this working? You can. And I recommend from a communication standpoint, but we want to help you along the way. And we may say, hey, look, Sally was great, but yeah, now you need Donna.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. That's so well thought out, Ashley.
Thank you. That's one of the top things I wanted to do was build a very intentional business. That was very, very, very important to me.
So good. It's so good. I mean, it is. It's you have thought of so many of the things. And so at the 1099 level, I don't have to worry about anything. That person figures out their own finances, their own taxes, their own health benefits, all of that stuff. So it's not unless I even want to cross over into the other, but I can exist in 1099 mode for as long as we want.
Correct.
Interesting.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then this obviously is one level. And I wanted to focus on that because I do know from personal conversations with many designers that this is so needed, this business manager level. But we could be like your mother's firm and have a business manager, but need that expediter or need that project manager. So it's not just this level of business manager. And I might be a busy firm and I might take on a $2 million project. And I'm thinking, I need a project manager for this one because my existing project manager already has 2 or 3 things on her plate. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's exactly what we can help with. And we're seeing it now. Someone hired a business manager through us and now is coming back and saying, I don't need an expediter yet, but you know what I really could use? Someone to help with our social media. So now they just hired someone to help with that.
Oh, so it's not just the business part. So tell us all the different skills that a designer could look to your firm for. Absolutely.
So first and foremost, as we talked about, it is business management and project management. That is truly our sweet spot. Where we also can help is digital marketing. So I lump social media into that, as well as bookkeeping. And then what I will also call a project coordinator, not necessarily a project manager, but someone who can go do the things that just need to get done, and a true executor.
Okay. So like meeting the trades and opening the door for the cabinet guy and, making sure that the tile got delivered, that sort of a thing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Almost like an executive assistant, but for your entire firm.
Right. Interesting. Okay. And I have to make an assumption that, when I come to you, because you serve other industries, not just interior design, you have a really strong lean and skill set in interior design, having grown up with your mother and watching her do her business and understanding her pain points and challenges as a businesswoman, right?
Right.
But so I got to make an assumption here that when you say project management and I'm a designer and I call you, this isn't somebody that was previously a project manager, for a bakery. It's this person knows how to project manage for an interior design firm. I'm not going to teach her, right?
Correct. This is not this is not a project manager from a baker. This is not a project manager for a software company.
Right.
This is a project manager who has done, let me call it, in the creative space.
Okay.
And so they're going to know interior design, but maybe not in and out. And when that happens, we match her up with people in our community who are in the interior design space to help coach her up. And that's conversations that we're having at the very beginning to ensure we understand, okay, how deeply do you need this person to know interior design? Because then that helps us with the matching.
Okay. Well, and so what I'm hearing there, and I meant to make the point, is with a business manager, business is business. So whether you're running a podcast, you're running a window treatment store, you're running a design firm, a qualified business manager should be able to come in, just clear all the decks and figure everything out. And what you're saying is that to a great extent, project management has those same flat, expected skills that are going to come to it. And depending on what your firm needs, you might say, okay, so just come in here and get me a project manager. Or in conversation, you might be like, no. We need somebody who's actually project managed design firms before.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So it depends on your own existing team.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, it's true, because sometimes everybody on the team knows what they're doing and you just need somebody cracking the whip, making sure it all gets done. And that's the project manager, laying it all out and doing the timelines and all the whiteboards that all the designers have with all the dates on it and all the things, right?
Exactly. And that is a huge sweet spot for us.
Okay.
These are women who live and breathe project management when it comes to. Yep.
And that's another thing that we haven't mentioned, is that we are consistently referring to the talent that works for you as women. That is a part of your mission. Is that right?
That's correct.
Tell us about that, Ashley.
Yes. So, like I said, my background is B2B tech marketing. I was doing that for about 13 years, and then I realized, hey, this isn't it. And I realized that I had so much anxiety about how I was going to continue my career and have children someday, because I watched my mom. I watched her struggle with the business at the beginning and doing it all and raising a family. And I knew that was so incredibly hard. So I went on Google and did some digging. And according to Harvard Business Review, if a woman is out of the workforce for just 3 years, she loses almost 40% of her compensation power forever.
Whoa.
And that was crazy to me. Absolutely crazy. So I built Prowess to help two main sets of people. First, it's these women who want to get back in to the workforce in a flexible way, or really on their terms, which is our community and our talent pool, but also particularly women business owners. However, it's not just women who want to take their business to the next level because they need to, whether it is financial needs, whether it is just goals they have. Having that partner who can help them grow from a person standpoint or a hiring standpoint is so key. And I want to make that as easy as possible.
Amazing. I love it. I think it's outstanding. And do you have any particular, do you find, Ashley, that there is a more or less typical, is it more typical that a designer will come and hire a project manager or a business manager or an expediter or whatever it is, and have them for a project for a finite period of time, 2 to 6 or 8 or 10 months? Or do you find that mostly they're looking for that hire that they would have done on their own and expected it to be a permanent hire, but they're doing it through you because of all of the support and help in getting the right person? Is there one way or another that happens more often?
More often, it is the project management level. They'll come to us because they know something is broken, but they're not really sure what it is. And they believe that a project manager can help them iron out all of the details. So they come to us and say, hey, I need 10 hours a week. And then we check up with them 2 weeks to a month later, and they're like, hey, I need 20 hours. And then what we're seeing is, because we spend so much time on the match and it is so data driven from a personality standpoint, they're like, oh, look, I love this person. They're great. They fit in completely. And then they typically hire them full time.
Wow.
That's what we've seen over and over.
Wow, really amazing. And the hiring process is so nerve-wracking, honestly.
It's brutal.
It is. Yeah. Like I've mentioned my cousin Eileen a couple of times, this is her particular area of expertise. And as she's been coming on the show, and she's been a co-author in the 2 Power Talk Friday volume books, 1 and 2, more and more of our community has been reaching out to her, and saying, okay, so I hear what you say and how to do it for hire, but how do I do it? Right.
Right.
And even your mom has utilized Eileen's services because she finally has worked with, at this point, more than 35 interior designers, with them one-on-one, helping them fill positions in their firm, that she's got such a firm grasp on the job description and the job posting for several positions within a design firm. And it's nice because that's a critical thing, is really nailing down that job description, right? And then crafting the posting to attract the right person, right, Ashley?
100%. And can I first give a shout out to Eileen? My mom introduced me to her. She is phenomenal.
Oh, I didn't know you knew her.
Yes. So we had a conversation, I don't know, a couple months ago, and I hung up the phone and I was like, she's my people.
I know.
She is phenomenal. And honestly, we've considered working with her, and possibly will, in the sense of, partnering on some of the job descriptions that she's created so that we can better serve our firms.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that will happen later in 2021.
Well, that's amazing. I had no idea of that, and I'm happy to hear it. And there has not been a single designer that has met Eileen, whether it was when she's come with me to High Point or through the masterminds, that hasn't said OMG with that lady.
Yeah.
Like, she's just like, she is literally the essence of love. Is she not? Is she not?
That is perfect.
You talk about living your mission and your tagline, lead with love. I mean,
yes. Yes. She's phenomenal.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to know about this collaboration because, your mother is right in there in that same dynamic of just being a goodness, and you are as well. And so I think you 3 are a great fit. So that's a great, I'm happy to know that. That's awesome.
Well, thank you.
So one of the things I'm curious about, Ashley, is, all of us entrepreneurial women, at some point or another in our daughters' and sons' lives, we usually wrestle them in and be like, start answering the phones while you're on your high school or your college break, right? So, and then I know with my own daughters, they would come with me on window treatment appointments when it was school breaks and I had appointments, or they would have to be in the showroom while we worked. Did you do the same with your mother and her firm?
Oh, yeah. I did. My brother did. My sister did. She employed all of us. I remember when I was home between years in college, I would help her with the expediting. I would be picking up fabric from the design center. Oh, yeah. All the time. And then what was really awesome, and why I'm so grateful for this experience, is while watching her grow and while I gained more expertise in marketing and PR, I helped her with her public relations.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, for about 6 months to a year, I was pitching publications and helping her with messaging. And so that was such an awesome opportunity. And quite frankly, I learned a ton.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's awesome. And so it's interesting because I can see how that would easily inform your entire interview process and everything that you're doing to put the right bodies in the right seats for design firms, having worked inside a design firm. And even if it was, I don't care if it was 3 summers or 2 summers, when you grow up with a parent running a business, you're by osmosis getting all of that. Right?
Absolutely. You get all of that. You get the energy too. Just the oh, is this nerve-wracking? How can we solve this problem, whatever it is? Or, hey, she just landed a massive account, and how exciting that is too. And so, yes, as a child, I benefited so much, and then really deeply got to understand when she needed help, what does that look like? What effects was that having on her? Like I keep using the word energy because that's really how it felt.
There's always something about an entrepreneur who starts a business because they firsthand witnessed a challenge, right? Yes. There's just something a little bit deeper there when, that's 2 or 3 times that you've mentioned how you watched how hard she worked, and, she was capable of doing it all, but the energy gets sucked out when doing the things that you don't love. And so for you to be always, growing up and thinking about how you could mitigate the things that you saw your own mother going through, it sounds like, pretty much, right?
That was exactly it. I was watching her, and then what I also watched again was all of the success and who she brought in when, from an employee standpoint. And I think that was really key too, to help build this business, and so that I can help other designers.
So it's like process. She's like the role model prototype for a well-run business. It's like, okay, at this level we need this, at this level we need this, right?
100%.
Yes.
100%.
Yes. Yeah. No, I've said it before. I've said it today. I've said it other days. I just have the highest regard for her. She's such a powerhouse. But one thing you don't do, if I'm correct, is you don't hire designers. We can't come to you for a senior or a junior designer. That's not the wheelhouse.
That is correct. We are more what I call back of house for the actual business, the machine, if you will, not designers.
Right. Which is, it's the most critical part. I'm going to tell you all right now.
Of course.
I say it all the time. You can be literally recognized as the single most talented interior designer on the planet. And if your business isn't well run, nobody's going to know about you. Right? So, or they'll only hire that one time because it was such a that they don't want to go through it with you again. Right?
Exactly. I mean, everyone loves a seamless process. And that's what Prowess really hopes to deliver. That your end customers, that your families, the people that you are serving are like, wow, that was a breeze.
Love it. Oh my goodness. It sounds so good, Ashley. Is there, so tell us, like, where do designers learn about your services? Give us that information.
Sure. You can hop on to prowessproject.com/interior-designers. And that is your one-stop shop for everything that we have specifically for your audience.
Wow. I love it. I think it's so amazing. I think there's a huge need in our industry for your company and what it does. And I love that between your own tech background, marketing background, and your learning by observing your mother's firm, and of all the firms that I could think of to learn and observe from, that's one of them. I can't imagine that working with you would not be a home run. It just sounds awesome.
Well, thank you, LuAnn. I really appreciate that. Means a lot.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today, Ashley. I do appreciate it.
No, thank you. This has been a blast, quite frankly. And, it's always really, really great to be able to brag on your mom.
We have talked about it on the show many times about the importance of hiring and outsourcing. And I don't really care if you are the smartest person in the world, the best designer in the world, the person who understands every aspect of running a business. You have limited time and energy. So no matter how you slice it, if you are interested in growing your business, because I know many of you do not have the desire to grow bigger than a solo firm, and all day long high five on that. But if you have the desire to grow your firm, you are going to have to hire and outsource at some point, right? Now, I get too that the decision to outsource doesn't come easily or lightly. We all know that urge to hold on to control, to save money, and to just keep swimming along with our head just above the water, right? But as we talked about today, even if you are fully capable of handling the business side, just like Ashley's mom, Tracy, is, you can't do both. You can't be the best designer, serve your clients, serve and grow your business, and hold on to the idea of doing it all yourself. So when we talk about having a well-designed business, this is what we're talking about. It's making the tough decisions to outsource, to bring on an employee, to find ways to buy back your own time so that you can serve more clients, you can attract better clients, and you can focus on the big picture of the vision that you want for yourself, right? So I think what Ashley is offering is something pretty special. What works for you at one level of your business isn't going to work for you as you grow. This includes the employees you bring on and their job descriptions. This is why we at WindowWorks and LuAnn and Inc. rely so heavily on Eileen Hahn, because we understand that it is absolutely critical to get expert advice and guidance, okay? Hiring is an expensive process, and I understand the resistance to paying for advice in hiring. But when you've had the wrong person work for you for 2 months or 6 months, you add that fee up. Because when you ultimately face it and you let them go, all of that money is just like you just ripped it up. So my advice is to, call on somebody like Prowess, spend some time on the phone, tell them your needs about yourself, and then come away with this, what they do. They put this algorithm together about, who would be the best fit for you. Save yourself tons of time and headache, all right? And what I love is also the future thinking that Ashley has put into her business model. Because if you need help with the actual interviewing, they can help you. If you are growing and you need to bring on somebody new or different, they can help you with that, okay? If you decide that your fit from Prowess is such a good fit that you want to hire her full time, they're happy to make that happen for you too. I think Ashley has thought of all the little details and the scenarios that come up for us as business owners, right? That can really make a big difference when we think about outsourcing and hiring somebody for our team. She's built in processes for those scenarios, and it's pretty smart. It's pretty savvy. And I encourage you, if you're in this position, to reach out to her. One other thing that stood out to me was the passion behind the mission of her business. Ashley started this labor of love because she believed that balance for women in the workforce should be possible. Right? How many of us have had to face decisions about work and family? We hear designers all the time that make the leap to business owner just for this reason, because they want that time. But then what happens is we get to be business owners and we figure out that sometimes we have less time. So, it's really very nice that Ashley built Prowess on this very concept of being a supporter for women in industry, both the women that she hires, right? That's her main thing right there, is the women that she is putting into Prowess that we are able to go and hire, because these women are able to set their parameters. They're able to put their superpowers to work, and at any level that they're capable and have desire to do, but to put a curb, a parameter, a box around what they want to do. So it's really, 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 really wonderful. I love it. If you are at that point in your business when you're ready to reach for the next level, whether you're just starting out and that next level is your first 25K, or you're further along and you're reaching for 2 and 3 million and beyond, this process of hiring is something you're going to have to get a grasp on. And when you're ready, Ashley is there to help. You can go to prowessproject.com to learn all about it. My hat's off to Tracy for raising such a fabulous lady. Smart, sincere, kind, driven. All the things that I've noticed about Tracy herself. I just love it. Be sure to listen to Tracy's episodes on the show. The links are in the show notes. I think that you will enjoy hearing Tracy's story if you've missed it. Very inspirational. And check out Tracy's interior design firm, Tracy Connell Interiors, and you will know that she is a woman to be reckoned with, and you will understand exactly how and why Ashley is who she is. And if you are interested in learning how to buy and leverage wholesale furniture, along with the many, many, many other things that Tracy shares throughout the course of her course under LuAnn University, we're launching again in March. Tracy will be teaching in March. Go go to LuAnnUniversity.com to learn about it and see if it's a right fit for you. Thank you so much for listening today. I appreciate you. I value you. I'm grateful for you. And I am just having the best time. Decide to be excellent. Thank you so much for joining me again today. This podcast is a production of WindowWorks, your resource for custom window treatments and awnings. To learn how we can help you on your next interior design project, go to www.windowworks-nj.com. And if you're interested in working with me on your business, either through masterminds or one-on-one coaching, or you want to know how to get my book, The Making of a Well-Designed Business, or you just want to know what's going on in the podcast land and where I'm going to be, all of that is found at LuAnnNigara.com. Thank you so much. Have an excellent day.